Hi, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and welcome to another episode of Let's Interview the Finalists for the upcoming Athenaeum Tabletop campaign. We are here joined by our next contestant, Eclipse.
Hello!
Welcome, Eclipse. Welcome. And as you can see, one of Eclipse's chosen interviewers is going to be Jordan,
Lovely, Jordan.
also known as Roxana from the land down under. Well, she's from the land down under. Roxana is from
Roxana's
Russia,
from much further north.
much further north.
Yeah, you just can't get rid of me, Hark. I just keep coming back.
Roxanne is from the Harry Potter or Wizarding World tabletop campaign. So, thank you, Jordan, for volunteering. And I'm just going to get out of the way and let Jordan run the show.
Straight back into it. Let's go. Okay, so I got a couple of questions here. This is a very interesting concept, but horses do tend to have like different priorities and issues to people. The two different species. Do you see that as an opportunity or maybe a difficulty or a bit of both?
I see it as an opportunity to create difficulty, which leads to storytelling and overcoming those difficulties. It's always interesting seeing two characters from even within the same setting, technically being from vastly different worlds, like someone who grew up in the streets versus someone who grew up in like a palace, having to work together and kind of work around their differing worldviews to accomplish a common goal, and figuring out that dynamic, how they interact with each other, I find exciting and fun.
So like getting into the world now, like in terms of your world building, what sort of things were you aiming for, like kind of a high fantasy D&D type thing, like the world that he comes from, that sort of thing?
One of the fun things I thought we could do with Mr. Horse's world is that if I get chosen and the rest of the Athenaeum party comes with us, Mr. Horse's book is told from his perspective. So he would understand all the other animals. And so would the rest of the party. And perhaps it might take a check of some sort for them to understand the other humans in the world. Because, animals don't always understand what we're saying. Sometimes they can get the gist of it, but not always.
It's kind of like Kingdom Hearts, where everyone like changes to a different thing when they go into
exactly.
Oh, I love that. In terms of like topics and maybe even like real world issues and things that we have discourse about today, what sort of topics do you kind of want to cover with Mr. Horse?
One of the topics that I thought we might be able to cover is speaking for yourself and making sure that you are heard, because the big thing with Mr. Horse is he couldn't really speak up for himself with the party that he was traveling with. He kind of just had to go along and hope that he survived the journey. With this new party from Athenaeum, he gets a chance to speak for himself and speak his mind and have input to the group. And that'll be something new for him to explore, finally being able to go like, oh, well, this doesn't seem like a very good idea. Well, then what do you want to do? Well, I get a choice now? What? Okay, let's run with this. Let's gallop with this.
Love that. What would you be anticipating most about the campaign? Like, what makes you the most excited about potentially being able to play?
I love the idea of what are called, I believe, are called isekai animes, where it's basically someone from one world being put into another world and having to figure out how to interact with that world, having a completely different view of how things work and having to figure things out all over again. I love the idea of seeing how things react when you take them out of their natural habitat and boom, new place. What is all this? What is all this? And trying to figure out how to move forward with whatever they're trying to achieve, while also figuring out how to navigate this new environment. And just and all the drama and interpersonal relationships that might arise from that, and all the character development that could arise from that, of them realizing, this is different. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's always like the most interesting part about RP is when people like do come from different worlds. As someone who like does play tabletop and techs up here a lot, like that's always the best part when everyone's like, wait, this is a thing, and then that opens like a dialogue. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Eclipse, one of the things that I absolutely love about you from your audition and from your interview so far is I love your energy. And, you just have this ability, I feel like a natural ability to be larger than life and, very, at least from what I presume, very outgoing. And also seem to be very experienced in tabletop gaming.
Here's the thing. I've only been doing tabletop for a year. I've been doing acting for nearly 12.
That's very helpful. Like acting or being in theater is very helpful. So given all of that, that can also be intimidating for people who either have never played the game before or have never done tabletop or theater before, people who are quieter. And that could be a little intimidating for them or overwhelming. It might be challenging for them to get a word in at times, or it might be challenging for them to try to share some of the spotlight with you. How do you feel you could address that or mitigate that possible concern?
I've taken improv classes and stuff. I know when to butt in, but without cutting someone off. I've had skill and literal training in learning how to do that kind of thing, and I've been taking those classes for years. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be pretty good at that aspect at least.
Since you mentioned before that you've only had 1 year of experience with actually tabletop gaming, so I wanted to ask, what are you hoping to learn or improve on as a player through this experience?
Learning when to roll which dice and what feats do what, all that kind of stuff. I've been a very story-driven player throughout my whole year of playing D&D. I want to dive a little bit more into the mechanics and kind of get a better grip on how they work and stuff. I have the basics down, but maybe working towards a little bit more of an optimized build rather than just a story-driven build and what would fit the character, and maybe work towards something a little bit more beneficial for the entire party might be more fun to play with.
Alrighty, so we're gonna jump straight into it. Get into character. So, the sound of crickets and the nightly wind occupy senses as the party thankfully comes to a rest. They banter and laugh loudly, all of you caked head to toe in guts and glory, so to speak, of your prior battle. To you, it's simply gross, though. It smells, it's viscous, it's disgusting, to put it mildly. The barbarian, the loudest of them all, bursts loudly. Oh, did you see the look on his face? Bah! Damn milk drinker. Didn't know he was dead till he looked down. This goes on for some time, till it is a little more than a dull drumming in the background. They haven't even untacked you, nor have they secured you to a tree shading the camp. So you are kind of left to your own devices for a little bit. This is probably not uncommon. They've just pulled up. They're ignoring you and not cleaning you, and are sitting around the campfire talking. Usually in this circumstances, what would you say Mr. Horse would usually be doing or thinking about?
Well, usually he'd be looking around for a tree to at least stand under for tonight, just in case the weather turns, because knowing his luck, it always turns. It always turns. And
So
who knows what might rain down from above.
Exactly. There is a large tree that's overhanging the camp. As mentioned before, you're not tethered to it, so you do have a ample amount of shade. And as previously mentioned, the party are drinking heavily, and paying you no mind.
He does trot over to the nearest one, the bard. He was always kind of a little bit more attentive to my needs. I nicker at him a little bit, maybe try and nibble on his shirt to try and get his attention.
The bard seems to be mulling over some kind of journal. Let's say he keeps a journal of some kind. And he snaps the book shut when you do so. What do you want? What's wrong? Oh, right. he'll stand, remove the saddle, and keep the bridle on in case they need to grab you for anything, obviously. And we'll begin to clean the viscosity fluid off. And eventually you are spick and span again, and the bard will return to his place at the fire.
Before he goes, I just lean my head into him a little bit as kind of like a thank you.
He gives you little shookums under the chin, right where you like it, and he goes back to what he was doing. Now, interestingly enough, you start to hear something, and the rest of the party doesn't seem to hear it. This happens probably about 30 minutes from when he had finished cleaning you, and the bard at that point has proceeded to drink with everyone else. Some of them are even passed out at this point. It's a dull rustling in the undergrowth, as if something might be approaching, perhaps. And by the way, it is nighttime, so you cannot see what it is currently.
I get right up against the tree, in case I need to put the tree between me and whatever is out there.
You stay there for a little bit, and it's at that point, so where you are currently, it is a clearing kind of in the middle of the woods. So there is an open space, and around you is the tree line. And just through the tree line, as you wait and stay silent, you see a shape, a dark shape, that seems to be moving between the trees. It seems to be around about the same size as you. And every now and again, you can see the glint of the moonlight in a pair of eyes. They seem, like I said, the same height. And they are clearly looking at you. It seems to be some kind of four-legged creature. Very reminiscent of your own form, in a way.
Hey, who's out there?
A pair of ears prick up at that. And by the way, at this point, the party has largely passed out. And slowly this creature comes forward from behind the undergrowth. And lo and behold, it is another horse. You can't remember the last time you've seen another horse. You've been on the road for some time. So this creature appears to be a mare. They're a deep grey, have a deep grey coat, and their hair's kind of that dark black. It's like so black it's almost blue in the moonlight, kind of thing. And she nickers softly and comes outside, and kind of gives you a look up and down.
I return the look.
She looks a bit warily at your companions for a moment, and then looks back at you. You do know you're in the middle of nowhere, she says. It's dangerous out here.
Yeah, I know. I gotta pull these idiots around.
I can see that. What are you wearing? Seems to be referring to the bridle that's still there.
It's just something they put on my face so they could tell me which way I need to pull them.
It's hideous. It's really unflattering.
You're telling me. I have to wear the damn thing.
Thank you. Yeah, in a bit. Sorry. It's my partner.
Don't worry about
it. So she kind of nods for a little bit. And they haven't tied you to the tree.
No, like I said, they're idiots. But
Right.
they keep me fed. Mostly.
And that's enough for you?
I mean, the alternative is running wild, and considering the things I've seen, I think I'd rather be around creatures that can defend themselves. They've gone up against some crazy things, and they come out alive almost every time. There was that
He says
time.
we can't defend ourselves.
Look, I've seen dragons, all kinds of monsters out there. Trolls, you don't want to mess with those. Trust me. That's something you run away from.
Right. Well, as you said, these things can be outrun. And when you're backed into a corner, a swift kick always tends to work. And the more you examine this wild creature before you, you see a couple of scratches here and there. Her mane is tangled. She is as wild as they come. Complete polar opposite to you. I suppose if you're so miserable, I just don't get it. You're not the first horse I've met like this, and you're not even content. You just go around and let them drag you around. Doesn't that bother you?
Well, it's either this or the moment I get away, they might, hunt me down like the other people that I've seen betray them. That never ends well.
Well, they could just get another horse.
I mean, they could. But if I run into them again, not looking good.
Right. You're a bit paranoid, aren't you?
Yeah! It served me well, though. It served me well.
Uh-huh. What's your name?
You're gonna think it's stupid.
Well, I think a lot of this is stupid, but don't let that stop you. Go on. Take a risk. What is it, horse?
There's a mister in there.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's all they've ever given me, and some of them have tried to change it, but it always just sticks back to that. I don't know why. I hate it.
This is the saddest thing I've ever heard.
I know, right? And I have to live with it.
You don't have to.
Well, kind of do. Like I said, they feed me. Take good enough care of me, I can handle the rest. I'm safe around them. Mostly.
Mr. Can I just call you horse?
No. You gotta have the mister around there. I need the respect, sweetheart. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. But I don't care.
She kind of snorts when she thinks you're like being a douchebag for a second, and then she's like, oh, right. Horse. Complacency is a choice.
I am well aware of that.
And sure, my life might be dangerous. I have to run a lot. I put myself at risk every day. But you can live a very meaningless life doing things for other people, or you can do things for yourself. And that kind of beats any danger you get put in. Just saying.
Run off and possibly get mauled by a dragon. Stay
But think
here
about-
and be defended from the dragon.
Think about how freeing that's going to be right before you get eaten by the dragon. That was a joke.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stay here because I don't like the idea of getting eaten.
Right. Okay. All right. Why don't you humor me for a second?
All right.
No one's watching right now, and we won't go very far. Why don't we just take a walk? Just a quick one. No one's gonna know, and you can come right back to your little pet humans if you want. But until
why
then,
not?
why not? Excellent. Wait, really?
I've done it before on my own.
All right.
It'll be nice to have
hopefully-
company for once.
Hopefully there's no dragon. And she will lead you.
Wow, now you've gone and jinxed us. Now we're absolutely gonna die.
Oh, don't be such a worrywart. And she will take you into the forest for a moment. It is quiet in the clearing. That changes when you go past the tree line. The forest is alive with sound tonight. Crickets, the hooting of an owl, and very disturbingly, the distant howl of wolves. But luckily, they sound far away from you. So what do you think? It's great, huh?
It's nice. By the way, where's the rest of your herd?
They're around, she says dismissively.
Uh-huh.
Look, you don't have to worry about that, okay? Look, I'm trying to do something for you. This isn't about me. Why are you looking at me like that?
Whenever I've seen wild horses, they've always been in herds, because that's safer.
Yes, that's the staple. They're always in a wild herd. Well, sometimes things happen, okay? And sometimes things happen, okay?
Uh-huh.
Well, you're not with a herd. You're with them.
They're close enough. There are
Right.
others that can defend me. Or help defend me, whatever. You get the point.
Do
You
they
wandered
actually
up all
care?
on your own.
Look, it's complicated.
Well, we've got a long walk ahead of us.
I'm starting to regret it. Look, people like your little pets that you like to follow around, they take things like me, make it their own, make them pull carriages. They took everybody except for me. I was the only one that was fast enough. So when I see something like you, it really upsets me.
I can see that. Reminds you of the herd you lost.
Yeah, it sucks. It makes me angry when you think it's okay. It's not. Well, I don't know, maybe it's a different perspective, but...
Well, here's the thing. When you work with the humans and the other folk, you get a roof over your head from the rain. You get food. You get regular washes when they remember. And all you gotta do is pull a couple things or let them ride along on your back, and you get to see different places than you would have had you stayed. It's not all bad.
Do you get to run wherever you want? Do you get to eat whatever you want? Do you get to live freely, make your own choices?
I mean, they choose a lot of that, but you still get to run.
Maybe. Do you think they're happy wherever they are? Think they're being treated well?
It depends a lot on the person. You could get people that will treat you like the juiciest apple ever, whatever you want to compare it to. They'll treat you like one of their own. Or some people treat you as nothing more than something to get the job done. I've fallen somewhere in the middle, so it's not too bad. Could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse. They could use me as bait. They only tried that once, and then I kicked one of them in the ribs. And they didn't try it again.
And they kept you around despite that.
Well, yeah. Because I'm useful. And the bard says he likes my personality.
The one that smells like flowers. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wishful thinking, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm going to stay on my side of the fence. I suppose this is the first choice you get to make. you want to go back and I suppose live the way you like to live or try something new. I suppose that's your decision to make.
I've grown too fond of them, I think.
Maybe I'll understand that one day.
Maybe.
Well, look, I gotta go. It was nice meeting you, Horse.
Nice meeting you too. Be careful out there. There were some goblins not too far back. They took care of most of them, but some of them ran off. So just be aware of that.
It's the only thing stupider than a human is a goblin. I'll be fine.
They can gang up on you pretty hard. Did they do that? It's not pretty.
We'll see. Later, Horse.
Alright. I know I'm not the most enthusiastic participant, but I got some experience behind me. I've dealt with a lot, and I've seen a lot get dealt with that I can also get. I got a lot of knowledge up in this here horse noggin or whatever. Plus, I can carry stuff, I can pull you along. I'd be useful to have around. All I ask is one of you helps me wash down at the end of the day and a nice bed of grass. That's all I need.